Greetings and welcome to Studio125 Multimedia Complex's local business highlight. I am your host, Natasha Jonelle, and I am here today with the owner of Starlit Roots herself, Miss Tiana Neal. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
Absolutely amazing. We are happy to have you here. It's been an honor to have known you thus far. Tiana, won't you let's get into this thing here. Let's talk about who Tiana Neal is.
Tiana Neal. I am a farmer and an educator and a consultant. I grew up here in Augusta with dreams of simply being an entrepreneur, not really knowing what industry I wanted to be a part of or how I wanted to be of service to the people and to the community. Didn't really know where I stood for a long time until I kind of got into the agricultural realm and started exploring the uses of the land and the food system. And so it kind of brings me into the work that I do today and my passions that I have today.
That's really dope. It is really dope just to see a young Black woman in agriculture. Like growing up, I experienced my grandparents with their garden. I never knew it had so much value behind it though. As a child, I'm looking at it as good food from grandma. It's healthy. And then it's work because I had to shuck I had to shuck corn, snap peas. We out in the garden, but it was fun though. We had a lot of family fun. I remember the big blankets in the floor and all the food sitting around and my sister, me, my cousins, all the girl cousins, the boy cousins was outside playing. And then my grandmama, she would be sitting on there with her long skirt, and so she can open her legs. It just drapes over in her legs with an apron on. And her sister sitting down, and we just snapping peas and shucking corn, and they just talking, like just listening to the stories.
What I find amazing too is like the stories and the memories that you have of those experiences on the land and working with food. I feel like I hear so many people tell me similar stories about their grandparents and working the land with their grandparents, and that's just the last of those memories.
Right.
And it's like it's so sacred and so special, and I love to hear it, especially because I didn't have those experiences growing up. I grew up more suburban type of area, and you see it a lot like suburban and urban kids coming up. They don't understand where food is coming from. And I was one of those kids at one point. I didn't even step foot on a farm till like adulthood. So to have those experiences and be so like deeply rooted into the land is beautiful, and the fact that you actually even want to like embrace those roots and embrace those experiences again is even more beautiful.
I was very intrigued by the name of your farm, Starlit Roots. Like, where did this name come from?
Starlit Roots is a name that I meditated on some time for. I was really just allowing the name to come to me. And it was almost like an epiphany. It it came to me as I started to recognize the correlation between the land and the people, and really divinity as a whole. I um I understand that the soil is the foundation for all the food that we grow. Meaning the soil is the foundation for us because we get nourishment from that food. We get nourishment from those crops and the animals that may eat that food. That's coming from the soil. And without that soil and the nutrients and the elements that soil makes up, we wouldn't be able to have that food.
Right.
Additionally, when we think about where the soil gets its nutrients and its minerals, the whole atmosphere comes into play, the whole space, the stars come into play. Iron, for example, iron can't be produced unless two stars explode. When stars explode, that's how iron's produced.
Wow.
Yeah, so we need iron as people. The plants, the soil, iron exists. And so Starlit Roots is a reflection of that, the correlation between the universe, the plants, the soil, and the people.
Right.
And it was so cool. I actually had a webinar last week that I watched. And she was talking about soil health correlating to human health. And the way that we practice like growing our food now, there's a depletion of nutrients like zinc.
Right.
And so zinc, if you look at it globally, is like a major nutrition deficiency in people. And in the US, we have a big magnesium deficiency. But there's also a lot of deficiencies in the soil related to magnesium and zinc. And so when we practice organic farming or regenerative farming that regenerates the soil and enhances that life that's in that soil, then it promotes, zinc, magnesium, iron, calcium.
Wow.
And that's what we need.
Right.
So if we're not promoting that in our soil, we're not promoting it in our crops,
right.
and we're not getting everything that we need from that crop.
Right. Right. Got to get it inside of the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's deep. What are some of your hobbies that you like to do?
Ooh, outside of farming. Outside of farming? I am into the natural medicine. Not like super deeply rooted, but definitely practice a lot of like holistic care and making my own teas. I do a lot of writing, journaling, and dancing. I love to dance. It's all very freestyle.
Okay.
I don't know any like standard forms of dancing. I just love to move, and movement is healing for me. So yeah, those are some hobbies outside of farming.
That's dope. I love to
Mm-hmm.
dance too.
Yeah.
I love to move. No formal training,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that either, but it is healing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels good to move to the music.
It's like the body wants to.
Right.
The body wants, and
Right.
the body wants to release certain things as well that we may just be holding on to,
Right.
and you don't feel it moving until you start flowing and dancing.
Right. It definitely brings out a lot of energy and connection. So that's really dope that you keep your energy levels high that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very, very therapeutic.
Yes.
That's what's up.
I love that too. I be actually asking my womb to dance. I just be like, okay, do your thing. And however, I just let her guide my movement sometimes. Or even different parts of my body. I be like, all right, spine, do your thing. And the spine directs my movements. I might not even have music just so that I can allow the body to just like move to its own rhythm.
Right.
That's healing as well. Just different parts. I've also been sick, and I'm like, I dance for healing, or I know my mom is sick and I'll dance for her healing, try to use the dance to bring energy like elsewhere, like bring this healing onto my mother. And even the land, I'll dance out on the land. You may have heard of like the rain dance.
Yes.
I've done some rain dances during some dry spells, and even just in gratitude, just thanking the land and thanking the elements. I'll dance and honor them through dance, and so I'll be out there moving.
That sounds amazing.
Yes.
And I never even thought to incorporate a dance into the land or into healing. Like, mine is, of course, is through touch,
Mm-hmm.
but through dance as well. Wow, that's just powerful. And I can just see, like back in the day with our ancestors, and I see you in other lives moving around fire and moving around land, moving, just
Mm-hmm.
moving. So, like, it does it like now. I see your aura, I understand your aura now.
Mm-hmm.
That's really dope. It's dope to see you in this light and to see that there's so much meaning and so much passion from Starlit Roots. And it's beautiful owner, Miss Tiana Neal. So, Tiana, I want to ask you about your current position here in the Richmond County area for the NRCS, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your position and what you do?
Yes. My position is County Soil Conservation Technician. And so I actually just kind of serve as a conservationist for Richmond County and Columbia County as well. And we help farmers with conservation practices on their farm. And we do that through programs and also through technical assistance. And so we can come out and just give like technical assistance and give advice on what you can do for the land to enhance the natural resources or conserve them rather. But we also have programs that offer funding, like financial programs and financial assistance to help implement some of these conservation practices. And so we do that on multiple layers. Like the land could be like forest land, it could be cropland or pasture land. Um, we consider all that forms of agricultural land, and so we could assist on different levels with that. And when we're talking about like conservation and the conservation of natural resources, we're talking about conserving the land, the soil, the water, the air. And so when you see those practices in effect on a cropland, that could look like planting cover crops to, keep the land sustained and have something growing that enhances the soil. Or it could look like attracting beneficial insects or wildlife, giving wildlife habitat or places for them to feed. That's a form of conservation. If we see like practices that your water source is being depleted, we've seen some issues, where like runoff from the cropland may be going into the water source that can serve as an issue, to avoid water pollution, we may install certain practices to redirect that water. We can help with things that, if you don't have source of water for your cropland, getting water sources,
Right.
irrigation and wells and that thing. I feel like a lot too many people know about our programs, but they do exist, and it doesn't cost anything to sign up and apply for our programs. You just have to have land and be in control of your land. You don't even have to own it. It could be land that you lease, as long as you're in control of it on in USDA records. So through Farm Service Agency, you'd be on your farm data records.
So like a regular home, somebody living in a neighborhood can still use that land to farm on.
That's iffy because if it's in a subdivision, you kind of have to get with the subdivision because subdivisions themselves have their own restrictions.
Well, maybe not subdivision. So just the normal person, let's just say the house that you just live on the house on the side of the street. You have a home, but you have enough where you can have a little area out there to grow food. Are these people also are they able to do that as well? They don't have to have like an actual big old farm or anything.
Yes.
I'm just trying to see so that the average person would know that you have the ability to grow food. It doesn't matter how much land you have.
Yes.
They still have that opportunity to get out here and get some of these services so that they can feed their families and learn how to become self-sustainable. So there's help out here for it.
Yes. Yeah, the programs are out there, and I've seen them on small scales, less than a quarter acre, less than a tenth of an acre, and more up to 1,000 acres. Some of our programs are more catered, like the funding programs, be more catered towards the large scale ag because it's on a per acre, like a dollar amount per acre basis.
Right.
So I know that they're doing some work to kind of like enhance the what's available for more urban settings, more small scale, and I'm starting to see some of that, but it's out there, and we're not gonna like discriminate based on the size of a piece of land. It can still be considered a farm and be
That's
a
good.
home site.
I mean, well, that's really good. And just maybe if more people with those on the smaller scales come and start pushing and knocking the door down, it will help open up the eyes even more.
Yeah.
Like we have to utilize every little corner we can so that we can develop our own food. You're going into the grocery stores, you're not getting real food anymore. Like what fruit don't have seeds in it.
Yeah.
All your fruit needs seeds in it. They don't specialize and come out all of a sudden. You have to get the food that comes from the seed, and it should have seeds inside of it to create more food. That's how you reproduce. Our
Yes.
bodies, so that's how food reproduces, right? It's just we need to know these things, and the NRCS is used also as great for resources as well. So if there's something that NRCS isn't able to do, or you guys can refer them out to someone else, the Farm Bureau or what is FSA, just different other platforms as well, working together. It's a whole system.
Yes. Yeah, different partnerships and even different specialists. Like if they're not in my office, they're in area office, people who specialize in these things. And so
Mhm.
yeah, it's so many services and resources available. And but I do notice like more need for like education. Um that's one thing that inspires me. Like even before I was associated with USDA and NRCS, I was focused on trying to figure out how to educate. There's so many people around me that want to learn how to farm and just don't know how to grow, don't know how to farm, or don't know where to get started. There was like maybe like 2017, me and another group, we were educating and we had like a farmer training program. I haven't really had the capacity to do that now, but I'm still very like passionate about we have to teach people how to farm.
Right.
And I find that disconnect a lot. There's like a lot of folks who want like the help from NRCS, but NRCS is like, but you're not farming. But they're just like, we want to though.
Right.
And it's like that's where I'm like trying to fill in the blank. I'm like, I want to fill that void of that lack of education. And I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like and
But
how to serve. But
you have opportunities right now. So at
yes,
Starlit,
like the
at Start,
apprenticeship.
correct. You have the apprenticeship programs that are
Mm-hmm.
going on, and you need people to come out there and get this education. So not only are you teaching them, but they're getting paid to learn. So it's a whole program that you're offering. Let's get into more about some of the programs that Starlit Roots is doing and the products that you have available on your farm so that people know
Mm-hmm.
there are avenues out here from local smoothie bars around here. They need fresh fruits and vegetables. They need to know where to come to.
Yeah.
They need to call Starlit Roots, right?
Coast of the Roots.
So let's talk about it. So let's
Yes.
talk about the apprenticeship program. We'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah, I am got an apprenticeship program this summer where I'm actually going to be it's going to be more education based where people just kind of learn the farming from seed to sales. In addition to that, I am going to have some farm workers this year as well. In the past, I think the only thing that was limiting me from operating on the scale that I want to operate on is like the lack of labor. And at the same time, I didn't make a big effort to recruit that labor. And so this year, I'm like, we're gonna get some hands because
Right.
we can do a lot with hands. You can't do it all by yourself.
Right.
It's a big lesson I learned. So yeah, definitely gonna have help, but when I have help, I educate. I train. Like I really just want them to totally just understand what they're learning and what they're doing. So I even invite people out to the field all the time. You don't even have to be a worker, you could be a volunteer. Just to
Hmm.
have people out there and be out there is empowering. That's how I learned. That's how I learned how to farm was really just working the farm alongside the elders
Hmm.
and having just constant education. And I think that's the best way for people to learn is hands on. And so I do invite people out. And if you're interested in working out at the farm, call me, email me. I'd love to meet you and have you out at the farm.
So how can they get in contact you? What's the information? What's your social media, your website, your phone number, email? Let's give it to them so everyone knows how to go ahead and get in contact with you, so we can get some people out there for the apprenticeship program. We can let people know where they can come and buy some fruits and vegetables from, what's available. We want them to be able to get out there to you. Like
Yes.
this, as Trav says, this is your 5 minutes to the world.
All right. Well, you can find Starlit Roots on Instagram at Starlit Roots, on Facebook at Starlit Roots. My email is starlitroots at gmail.com. And yeah, pretty easily accessible. I sell most of my food online on the Augusta locally grown online market and also downtown at the Veggie Park Market, which is going to be a different day this year. We haven't figured out what days and times that is this year, but if you follow me on the social medias, you'll be able to find out. I have seasonal produce, so my produce fluctuates based on the season. Like currently, we're growing greens because winter time is the best time to grow greens. So all the kales and collards and cabbage and lettuce is all doing their thing. Summertime looks more like peppers and okra. Okra. That's
That's
that's my crop.
well,
Expect me to have okra.
well, that is that's a crop that comes from the long boat ride, as they say. Um, it came over here with a lot of ancestors that traveled the oceans to get here. So that is a very powerful crop you have growing, the okra and okra and okra. So are there different types of okra, or
There is.
really?
I was last year I was growing red. There's a burgundy okra, then there's one Alabama red that has red and green in it. Then I was growing all green. So I was creating mixes for people to get a taste of all these different kinds of okras,
And they taste different.
not really. They all taste like okra, but it's new.
It's all just
it's
colorful
exciting.
okra.
It's exciting to see.
Right.
It gets people excited. Like, oh, what's this? This
Okay.
is different, But it's
Okay.
also all still okra.
It's still okra.
And
Best of okra.
it's one of those crops that spark a lot of excitement. Like when
Right.
you're at the market, there's a few things that get people excited. Like, are people excited? Okra, turnips, and peas, like field peas, black eyed peas, white acre peas, purple whole peas.
Right.
When they see peas, whether they're shelled or unshelled, it does something to them. Just like you were telling me about, you would shuck peas with your grandmother. Right. So when you do see peas, at the farmer's market, it's instant flashback.
Yeah, the ancestral food. Yes.
It ain't something you can get at the grocery store. You don't see peas in their shell at the grocery store.
Right.
You might see them in cans.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I had stopped. We had to stop buying cans years ago. Just when we were buying from the grocery store, we were going to get the frozen groceries. So that's one question that I do want to ask you. So there's a lot of people out here that use EBT. Are you accepting EBT at your location for the people who need to come out there and purchase?
Yeah, the market I vend at, the Veggie Park Farmers Market, and also the Laney Walker one, which is only like once a month, but they double EBT.
Wow.
And so if you want to spend 20 in EBT, you get
You get
40 in tokens.
Look at there.
Yes.
That's absolutely amazing. So is there something special that they need to do, or they just come up and say, hey, I need to pay my EBT card?
That's all they need to do.
And absolutely amazing.
And even as a farmer, I can actually sign up to be a SNAP and EBT retailer.
Okay.
And so I could have, there's a way to do it. I just haven't had to, since the market I do sell at already accepts it. But as a farmer, you can actually become a SNAP and EBT retailer.
That's absolutely amazing. That gives the local community that may not, know about the farming, but they can come and get fresh, real food and learn and get paid with the apprenticeship at Starlit Roots.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure to sit here with you today, discussing all the amazing things that you're doing. I want to say congratulations to you, and again, I appreciate you and have gratitude for you. So gratitude for coming down today. Again, my name is Natasha Jonelle. This is Studio125's Multimedia Complexes Local Business Highlight, and we are out. Peace.